Welcome to Jiva Yoga Live. I'm Hillary. The following video is going to give you some instruction about the best yoga poses we have for stretching the groin. Thanks for joining us here at Jiva Yoga Live. Be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell so you can get alerts about future videos. Namaste. The following 6 postures are going to be super great for getting really deep into those groin muscles and having a nice groin and hip opening stretch. I'm going to break down these poses for you so that you know how to incorporate them into your practice. But if you want, you can do the whole sequence together as a nice deep groin opening yin practice. My recommendation will be that before you jump into putting all of these postures together, make sure that you're warming up the body, get those muscles nice and warm. That way they're able to stretch open even better and you're doing it safely without worrying about being so sore after you practice. We're not here for pain. It's all about pleasure. So let's get started. We're going to start with our goddess pose. So for all you goddesses out there, go ahead and step those feet wide. You want to have them about a 45-degree angle to the outside, and we're just going to bring the arms to goalposts, football goalposts like this, and then just sink the hips down. You can adjust the feet, bring the heels under the knees, and get where it's as comfortable for you to get this nice stretch in the groin. We're rotating through the outside of the hips, and we're really bringing intention up from the arches of the feet, really bringing a lot of strength up from the feet. So make sure you're pressing away from the ground, away from the earth, and you'll notice as you do this, the more you press into the feet, the more you feel the stretch in here. So opening the arms as well helps open the torso, open the chest and lift the torso. We want to make sure that this is a full body pose. We're really pressing into those heels and feet to feel the deepness of the stretch. You can do some bounces here to lower the pelvis a little deeper into the stretch. You can lift one heel at a time away from the mat and see how this feels. You want to try to stay in this posture for about at least 10 breaths. Really feel the activation in the legs. And connect with your inner goddess. After you've done this pose, we'll step the feet back together. We'll take a look at another squat pose, Garland or Malasana. For this pose, we'll just step the feet a little wider than the hips apart. Again, we want to point the toes out. We're going to bring the hands to prayer position at the chest, pressing the thumbs against the sternum. We go ahead and lift the chest, and then we bend the knees, sink the pelvis down. We're going to bring the elbows inside of the knees, and we're pressing the elbows into the knees while at the same time we're pressing the knees into the elbows. We're creating a counter push here to really feel the pelvis opening and these groin muscles opening between the thighs. You're also going to feel the outer hips rotating. Really press into the feet again here to feel the deepness of the stretch. You can stay here for 10 breaths. It looks like a very simple posture, but you might be finding out if you're following along that it's pretty intense. It's definitely a really deep stretch, and if you need to come out of it, just stand up for a moment and then go back into it. Garland pose. And we also want to make sure we're keeping the chest lifted here. Keep that heart high. And from here, I'm going to sit down to go into the next posture. I'll turn this way, reclined bound angle pose. So we're going to start with basically like a butterfly pose, a regular bound angle pose. And you may want to bring the heels closer to the body or further away from the body, whatever feels best for you and your body today. And then just go ahead and recline the torso back. You can come down onto your forearms and then laying all the way down for reclined bound angle. We really want to feel the openness in the hips here, especially from the hip points. Our groin muscles extend all the way from the inner thigh up to the space between the hips. We can really feel that in this posture. To get into the posture differently, you may play around with bringing the heels closer to the body You may extend them further away. If you want to use support in this posture, you can always put blocks under the knees if it's helping to give you more stability. Depends on your range of flexibility and where you are in your practice today. So this is a very restorative posture. You can stay here for a few minutes if you want, at least trying to stay here for 10 breaths, 10 deep, full breaths, connecting the breath to the spaces where we feel tension or tightness. Being patient with the practice so you really get the most out of the stretch. Reclined bound angle. To come out of the posture, you're just going to bring the knees together and you can rock back and forth to come up to seated. The next posture we'll look at is going to be a wide angle seated forward fold. So we're seated and you're just going to bring the legs as wide as you can today. You want to make sure that your feet are flexed and the tops of the thighs are activated. This is going to help protect the knees from getting any injury, and it helps maintain the full body activation throughout the posture. So the sit bones are planted firmly. You may want to peel the flesh away from the bum. And we're feeling this openness in the inner groin here and the inner thigh. We're going to inhale the arms above the head, extend the fingertips high, and then anchoring through the pelvis, really activating through the legs, tucking the navel into the spine. We begin to reach the arms forward and lower the torso down towards the earth. You can use your arms to support you. Come onto the forearms. If this is a deep enough stretch for you, stay here. If you want to extend the arms forward, you can to go even deeper into the posture. This is exactly where I need to be today. Perhaps you need to use a block, a bolster, or a blanket to support you, bringing the earth a little higher. Definitely can get a really nice stretch no matter where you are in your practice. Forward folds are so good. We want to make sure the only thing that when we're coming into the posture, we're not collapsing like this. Not only do you not feel a good stretch in the groin if you're collapsing, but you're also creating some unnecessary flexion in the spine. So make sure that the torso extends long and folds forward from the hips to get a really good stretch. Keep the feet flexed. Stay in this posture again. 10 deep breaths is always a great number to go for when you're wanting to really deepen your stretch. Of course, you can always go longer or shorter, depending on your practice. From here, to bring the feet together, you can just womp, 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 however you want. And the next posture we'll get into is one that everybody loves, happy baby. You probably know it, so you can go ahead and come into it with me. Bring the knees into the chest and grab those big toes with your peace fingers. And then we'll just pull the toes towards the chest and open the hips wide. We can move around in this posture, or you can find stillness, whatever you need today. But really think about pressing down through, well, you're pressing your toes into your fingers to get some resistance here. It helps create a deeper stretch in those hip creases. We want to make sure that the lower back is not coming off of the ground in this posture. We don't want to put any pressure on the spine like this. Wow, that feels terrible. So really keeping a flat back. Play around with happy baby. It should be fun. Ananda Balasana. Blissful baby. You can extend the legs one at a time, both at a time. Work with what you have if there's a wall here. And this can also be a recovery, a restorative posture if you need to take it at any time during a practice. A lot of times people take child's pose, but this one's also really nice if you just need to take a moment for restoration in the middle of your practice. And afterwards, I like to roll around a little bit, give myself a hip and lower back massage. Tuck the knees into the chest. And our last pose that we're going to look at is a deep hip opener. Go ahead and come up into a tabletop position, and you want to be against the long way of your mat. With the knees on the mat and the hands coming off of the mat, we'll just find tabletop. The wrists are below the shoulders, the knees are below the hips. And from here to get into frog pose, we just begin to open the knees wide and let them separate from each other as the pelvis moves down towards the ground. We want to keep the knees in alignment with the hips, and you can flex the feet, flex the ankles, lower the body down to the forearms. Again, here you can go all the way down, extending the forehead to the ground if you wish. You can use a block, blanket, or bolster to support your posture, bringing the earth closer to the body. And you can also play with the feet, bringing the heels together, extending them out. You'll notice that this gives you a different sensation in the stretch. But whenever you find a place where it feels right for you today, try to find stillness in that posture, and take again 10 deep breaths there. This is a really, really great groin opener, hip opener, heart melter. Just want to make sure that we're not bringing the knees too far away from the hips, forward or backwards. When we're ready to come out, we can just bring the hands up and walk the knees closer together out of frog pose. So these are 6 of the best groin opening stretches that we have in yoga. Again, you can use any of these at any point in your practice, or if you really want to dedicate yourself to a long inner thigh, inner groin opening practice, put them all together, but make sure you're nice and warmed up before you get started. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you.
If you enjoyed today's video, make sure hit the thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. And of course, click that notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos. Hope to see you next time. Namaste.